Ever wonder what your day would be like with Boom Radio? Yep, us too. We don't think about nightmares.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank God it is Monday. My name is Shola Rogers, and this is the Boom Bar.
Don't jump with your shoulder. Anyway, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boom Bar right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Oladelupa. You know, the one and only. The one and only. Nobody else. Nobody else but. But anyway, a visual warm welcome to the bar. This is very interesting. Monday afternoon in the city of Lagos. It is going to be a very interesting one. Very, very packed. There's a lot of politics, governance, sports, entertainment, and everything else in between. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into it as we literally have no time.
Yeah, it's a packed show, man. Trust
Yep.
me.
So let's get right into it. You know, we're going to be talking about a few things. The Niger Republic updates. There are a lot of Niger Republic updates that's coming from Niger Republic and from other countries. We're going to be talking about from the stables of the president, of the Nigerian president. We're definitely also going to be talking a lot about that. The FIFA Women's World Cup. Oh yeah, people are now officially getting yanked off, or they're moving on to stages at this point. So yeah, there are a few other things also that we would get around to. There are a few stories from state to state. So let's get right into it. So as we start, we're starting from the issue of ECOWAS, yeah? And of course, I think that the Niger issues, I think it is a lot with Nigeria because, of course, Nigeria is very close to Niger. And they're kind of our brothers, especially when we saw a lot of Niger in the last administration. I remember there was a part where former President Muhammad Buhari had talked about how if the new administration disturbs him too much, he will go to Niger. I'm not sure he would want to do that at the moment.
Not anymore.
Definitely not anymore. But anyway, after the announcement of this official that there was actually a coup, successful actually,
Yeah.
in Niger, and looks like there's still the detention of the president and his family. There's been a lot of hue and cry from a lot of places, starting from ECOWAS, the economic arm of all the West African countries, definitely. There's also a lot of talk from the EU, from European countries, from the UK, from the US. There's Germany involved. You know, there are a lot of people. This seems to be getting a lot more, what would I use now? A lot more attention that you would normally get, because really it's not the first time there's a coup in an African country, but this particular one seems to want to, you know, everybody seems to be talking about it. It seems to be a thing, and as we talk about, we see why there are a lot of countries that are actually invested in this matter. So starting from where we're going to start from, and from the ECOWAS, coming from this side, the ECOWAS, after yesterday we had reported on Friday that there was going to be an special extraordinary meeting of ECOWAS in Nigeria when it comes to this particular conversation. And then obviously there was now some resolutions coming from ECOWAS. Now, maybe we should start from that. Let me give out what ECOWAS. The ECOWAS, as in its entirety, that's the authority of the head of states, basically of the economic community of West African countries, of West African states. Countries anyway, any which way. Had now issued from yesterday a 7-day ultimatum to the military in the Niger Republic to restore the president. They said that they're not going to hear anything from the president. And also, they're not going to hear anything from them. They're not going to recognize them. And also, they're not even going to accept any form of purported resignation from the president themselves.
That's the president of Niger.
The Nigerian president. Talking about that as they announced it, this was announced by the president of the ECOWAS Commission. And they had also said that after the 7 days that they will be forced to maybe bring in some military force into the country. According to the president of the ECOWAS Commission, he had said that all the chief of defense staff of the member states are to proceed on an emergency meeting to know the best way to restore democracy back to Niger. And on the economic side of things, there were a lot of sanctions coming from ECOWAS. They're saying that they've already suspended flights from all ECOWAS countries. Basically, it has become a no-fly.
It's also a no-fly zone, yeah.
It has officially become a no-flight zone. So if you're planning to go to Niger Republic, there's literally no flight that'll take you there.
I just want to chip in now that it makes 2 countries now that in the last 2 months or 3 that have been declared as no-fly zones. Sudan is one.
Yeah,
and you know, and if you look at the way Nigerians have to travel, especially from Asia or Saudi Arabia, now they cannot fly over any of those countries.
Yep. Now, also, there's also the talks of suspension of all commercial and financial transactions between ECOWAS and member states. I'm talking about being a no-fly zone. Land borders are also closed to Niger. Interestingly, it's very interesting because this is a landlocked country. The only other side to this country is where they're open now, I think, is the Libya and the Sudan side of things, which they're not, obviously, they're not places at the moment that are restive as well. So I don't know how much commercial activity can go on from that angle also. So they also freezed all their accounts or their money or assets in every other ECOWAS countries as well. They're saying that they're going to freeze assets of the Republic of Niger, Aqua Central Bank, of the Niger states and parastatals, anything that is in any other country right now, they definitely have seized it off, and they're giving them 7 days. So that is from the ECOWAS side of things.
Yeah. Thank you for that very detailed, report from the ECOWAS side of things. I was going to take us back a bit,
Okay.
just to lay a little bit of background as to the timeline to what happened in Niger that eventually became a coup. They at some point they even said it was a mutiny of sorts with the presidential guard, who had held the president captive. That's the president of Niger. On the 24th of February 2023, a group of soldiers led by Mamadou Sanogo, over more or less arrested the president. On the 25th, Sanogo declared himself president and dissolved the government and parliament, suspended the constitution. On the 26th, ECOWAS leaders, of course, met to, basically condemn this coup, and of course, as it stands, there are other implications, but that's basically the timeline from the coup to ECOWAS, like Dolukwa talked about. But there's also been a reaction to the resolutions by ECOWAS.
Oh, yes. So there's a reaction now coming from the Niger coup plotters. They rejected the call and warned ECOWAS against military intervention. According to them, they say, we want once more to remind ECOWAS or any other adventurer of our firm determination to defend our homeland.
All right. And, a lot of people have said things back and forth about this. People have been upfront about it. Some have really, really gone all out. I want to speak first to some Nigerians who are actually hoping for the same thing to happen. I like to say that I don't think you're a real Nigerian.
No.
And I'm not sure you grew up in Nigeria when the military was in power. as bad as politicians might be, as bad as they are, for me, I believe firmly that the worst civilian government is better than military rule.
To be honest, I think that if we really look at it, some of these coup plotters, I didn't say all, some of them actually have good intentions. They're fighting the fact that they have bad government in place. I agree. But I personally feel that force is no way to get what you need.
Yeah, again.
Really, I still don't see how that is going to solve a lot of issues. There's a lot of brutal force. I was reading it, and a lot of people were talking about how everybody makes it seem like democracy is the ultimate. If you look at like the Middle Eastern countries and all that, where they have like the monarchy and all those things, but it is not still a coup. It is not as bad as you might say. Okay, there's a monarchical system in some places, but they still have some level of democracy. They still have parliaments and all that, where there's still like conversations that still happen. Yes, there are decrees and all that, but where it is really not a military system. And I don't see how that works a lot of time, or most of the time.
Right. Anyhow, I would also like to speak to that and make people understand. That is my opinion, though, that it's not the same, like Dulquad pointed out. And virtually every military overthrow has come with promises. They've come with injunctions. They've come with decrees.
Yeah.
Then they end up, especially in Africa, then they end up dumping their uniforms and putting on the babariga or the agbada or any traditional wear. And those guys become what? They become the same politicians all over again.
All over again, exactly.
It's very rare, very, very rare to find any military intervention that has ended well for any country. Now, I do not say that all have ended, but it's rare. And if you can remember a few, just point them out to us. And some people are saying, oh, what's your business? After all, the people of Niger are celebrating. Not all of them are. Yes, but some of them will. It's a normal thing. But I think, again, we need to make a stand. Democracy is not perfect, but I think that's all we have at the moment when it comes to governance. This is the only system we have. Until Africa evolves to creating something,
what's it called? I get it.
That's best suited for us.
It might not
we
be
need to make
perfect.
Yeah.
It might not be perfect. But even when we look at Nigeria as a whole, and let's not even go to maybe the presidency. When you go to states, generally, there are examples of states in recent times that we know that democracy has really worked, where people have actually come out to say, you know what, we don't want this government, and we're going to vote for somebody else. And it has worked. And people are reaping the benefits of it. And even if, there are a lot of states like that. If you look at it, there's off the cuff of my head, I can think of there's Osun State, there's Kwara State. But people literally did say, we don't want this again. Let's try something else. And they did. But people should still be able to have that choice to determine who leads them and who doesn't.
Now, another talking point, and one of the things that we also need to realize is that it's not like ECOWAS is going to go straight to war with Niger or the junta, the military junta that is in place now. But it is on the table. And it might be one of the things that will bring them to the discussion table, like, okay, let's talk. And these are the things that you don't want to happen. Now, if it comes to military strength, maybe we need to look at who's going to be stronger on paper and even off paper. A lot of people have had different discussions about it. But one of my biggest fears and issues is that 7 Nigerian states, if I'm not mistaken, share a border with that country. So it could be the 37th state that's been disputed already. I'm telling you.
So that if we're not careful, that we're going to see we already know that there are a lot of migrations from Niger into Nigeria.
A lot.
So the minute there is a lot of unrest, we probably will see
It's going to
a
get
lot
worse.
more. So which also
You know,
is why I feel that a lot of people are talking about how some of these things, how is it Nigeria's business and all that. Which I feel that it is now more than ever Nigeria needs to do something about it. There has to be there states or there countries that no matter how much you want to have a secure place, a well put together country, your border states determine a lot when it comes to your own security, especially security. So if there's issues in those other countries, you cannot sleep. You cannot sleep with two eyes closed. So maybe on the side of Nigeria, what they need to do is we need to restore peace and quiet. So maybe there won't be some major migration, which, take for example, amenities and infrastructure and all that. That is still not enough for Nigerians. Imagine now a whole influx of people coming in.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that people need to realize and understand, we talked about how, you know, migration and everything it's a given. It's a normal thing. It shouldn't be, but it is. And I remember growing up in Surulere, my neighbor's maid, Asan, was also a businessman. He had a store. You know, he sold, you know what they call mishai? Someone who sells tea, bread and eggs and yam and everything. They sold tapes. That's why I liked him. He sold a lot of tapes, musical. We used to buy cassettes from him, and we got him to play what we wanted on the loudspeakers and stuff. And they would speak a brand of what I thought was Hausa that I didn't understand. It was later I found out from him that they were from Niger. There's no way you would know.
You will know, yeah.
There's no way you would know. There's a lot of them were from Zabrama, you know. And I even picked up, we don't say Akande, and there are a couple of things that I picked up from them. I'm like, wow, do you get? So they're already here as a part of us. They're our brothers, they're our sisters. They live here. And because of the similarity in language and culture, how do you want to differentiate?
How do you want to differentiate?
Then you now unleash war, and when we get to that point, if it gets to that point, there's going to be a massive influx.
Honestly,
Massive.
a part of me feels that the way it's going, it probably is going to get to that point. The way it's going, it most likely would get to that point, but maybe, just maybe, it will not last for so long.
Well, let's hope it doesn't, because war has never been the answer. But at times, people would, you know, what baffles me a lot about human being and the human race is that we use violence to bring peace. And it just...
I get your point. I get it. It makes sense. But the truth is that when you're in a situation where people have chosen not to listen, take for example, okay, so another issue that the Niger coup plotters are talking about is the fact that France is, they're alleging that France is going to invade the military, the presidential palace to free the president.
Speaking about France invading...
Is that really a bad thing? When you really think about it.
Yeah, well, it is, because it's a sovereign country and you don't want another country to overrun your country. But you know that...
You're not behaving like a sovereign country.
It is a sovereign country.
It is a sovereign country, I get it. But if you really, really respect the fact that it's a sovereign country, you won't have coup.
Okay, so let's get that. But one of the things that that comes to my mind when you say France and their interests is Niger is again another country that plays host to a couple of military bases.
Yeah.
And the US also have a military base there. And there's France.
Okay, so I have a question though, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing a lot of those things, and in my mind I'm like, okay, so Niger actually allowed it, because I'm not sure I really heard anything of
Oh yeah,
that
they
kind
were
of
not
sort
first.
on like maybe in Nigeria.
No, Nigeria is
or-
one of the few African countries that does not allow foreign military bases.
Oh,
Yeah, there's actually a map that I saved somewhere, and Nigeria is one of the countries that doesn't have a foreign military base.
oh.
Yeah. You know, and the world powers, they do this because of their race to dominate the world, you know. And when they see that, oh, one of their rivals is making an inroad into one part of the world, they want to go to that same part, but not necessarily the same country. You get. So there's a lot of talk now about, you know, the involvement of France and how, you know, they've been the major beneficiaries of Niger's main natural resource, which is uranium, which they
Yeah.
use to generate power. You know, this is what a lot of people are saying. Even people from Europe are saying it.
Yeah. There's a statistic that about one of 3 houses in France is powered by uranium from Niger.
Yeah, it's, nuclear power. So the thing about that is we need to ask questions, not necessarily about France, because I believe that business is also a two-way thing.
Yes, they're exporting it. I don't know
It's-
why.
it's more about the
I don't know
government.
why they stopped. I don't know why the military junta decided to stop export to France, except you are giving them for free. If it is being paid
so
for,
the allegation is that France is underpaying them. That's what they are claiming.
And
Now,
so-
but I don't have that fact.
so it should be. Excuse you. Let's go back to the table. It is obvious that you are at a point. Every single part, with the indications, is obvious that Niger has an upper hand when it comes to that kind of a negotiation. If France needs that much uranium from Niger, so it is a conversation of, okay, how do we? This thing cannot work. Now, the one that bugs me the most is that how does Niger Republic have as much uranium that serves at least 1/3 of consumption that France has? And according to statistics, it is only about 12% of Niger that has power.
Which is a
Like,
very
it's
sad
mind-blowing.
statistics.
You own this thing, so you know everybody is still, there's the hydro, there's the that everybody is, you know, is trying to get around, but you have something in excess that
So they do not have the, you know, the license and the capacity to convert uranium into power.
maybe that's the one that they should work with,
And
they
that-
need to work on that.
That is now let's really be honest with ourselves. That's the sad story of Africa. We're talking Niger, but let's talk about Africa.
Mm-hmm.
This is the sad story of Africa. You, for instance, look at cocoa. The cocoa supply in the world majorly comes from Africa.
Yeah.
The bulk of it, you know, Ghana, I think Cote d'Ivoire,
Cote d'Ivoire,
Nigeria.
Nigeria, yeah.
but there are other countries. But these African countries supply the world the bulk of it,
Yeah.
but they don't process it. So you sell,
That one, you
Cocoa.
don't need a license for that one.
you don't. So you sell your cocoa, then it comes back to you.
Yeah, we
processed
like
as
chocolate.
cocoa butter, chocolate, and look at all the extracts of cocoa,
Cocoa,
and look at
yeah.
how useful it is.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And that's the problem, that Africa has resources, but she never ever processes them. You know, all she does is sell raw materials out, and that's the case of uranium that Niger has been selling for eons. They've been selling it for like 1 million years. Now, if they had any smart government that was in place, they would have struck a deal with the French or any of their major buyers to say, for X amount of this supply, like a trade by barter thing, let us buy the technology.
Yeah.
And, you know, come and help us
Exactly.
build. And we'll supply you this, and that, so that we can give our people power and let them enjoy, you know, the benefits of having this. It's the same thing with a big country like Nigeria that more or less shut down its own refineries so that people can start
it really doesn't make any sense.
Importing
really
byproducts of crude oil. And this is why Africa is where Africa is. Now, I'm not even going to go into this story about master-slave relationships. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying that when it even comes to world trade, why do you feel the need to sell all your resources as raw materials?
It does not make any sense.
You can do both, actually. You can sell raw materials and process, especially when they say that your country is one of the poorest countries in the world. So how are you this rich in resources, but you are poor?
You're poor. It doesn't make any sense. Now, there's a very interesting thing that I also wanted to say was that, you know, that ECOWAS has given Niger a 7-day ultimatum. Now, a part of me, am I the only one that feels that? Because we know that there have been a few countries, there's Mali, there's Burkina Faso, that you know, that have really been under like the military role and all that. And it comes off like
Why
ECOWAS, ECOWAS, like why didn't you do that? Maybe we can say that, yes, there's a new government in town. It looks like it is more like Niger wants to be the scapegoat. They're using Niger to be the scapegoat. Now, another thing is that ECOWAS has given Niger a 7-day ultimatum. AU has given Niger a 15-day ultimatum. Shouldn't there be some kind of synergy? Right? Do you understand? Like, okay, so what happens after 7 days and ECOWAS goes in? Do you understand? Is AU still going to wait for that 15 days? Is the 15-day ultimatum of AU, does it not make sense anymore? Sadly, also, there is now a lot of sanctions from EU, especially, you know, it's very interesting how a country that like Niger that gets, okay, for example, now, the EU in its budget allocated between 2021 and 2024, allocated about 503 million euros from its budget to Niger. So there is a lot of money coming from these places to Niger, which I think is why it's very easy for a lot of this. That's why a lot of these countries seem to have a whole lot of hold on it. The US also has a lot of sanctions on this. Of course, even Nigeria. Remember, there was a time when Nigeria, a lot of people came out because I think former President Buhari had sent aid or something to Niger and all that. I'm like, so how do these soldiers want to pull it off? Because it seems like your whole government, or no, let me say whole, most of the government is run by aids or monies or businesses from other countries.
And again, like I said, that's the bane of Africa. That's what Africa has been doing wrong. You get?
I get it. So, but it is what it is now. So it kind of almost seems like they're not, they did not think this thing through. Because now there is the angle of how a lot of people are, and it's not just them, it is now the citizens, how citizens are really going to bear the brunt of a few people's decisions that they did not think through.
Yeah. So it goes different ways. Maybe they thought it through or they didn't think it through. We will find out. One of the things that people need to understand also is that, for instance, it is not the first time this is happening. I'm not even going to talk about when full-fledged war was waged in Liberia or Sierra Leone, and you know, ECOWAS had to come to the rescue. You know, but there are some countries in Africa where, especially in West Africa, that they've had issues, and ECOWAS had to come through. ECOWAS being 80% Nigeria anyway, if not more. You know, but they had to come through. Not long ago, under President Muhammadu Buhari, I think it was it Yahya Jammeh or so, one of these guys, you know, that there was going to be some upheaval and uprising in that place. And, you know, we sent a ship, you know, we sent a warship and a couple of troops their way, and, you know, nothing happened. Remember last week we talked about how there was something like that was it Equatorial Guinea or so, and President Obasanjo also quickly gave them an ultimatum, and he didn't even wait for an ECOWAS meeting. No. You remember that he was never chairman of ECOWAS.
He was never chairman of ECOWAS.
He just told them you people should behave, and they behaved.
At this point, with statistics on ground, and if those statistics are true, I personally think that Niger, they need to step down quick. Because if they're talking about military from ECOWAS countries, there's statistics from just Nigerian military alone. Let's just for the sake of people, innocent people,
for information purposes,
for innocent people, please, I beg you in the name of God, just let this thing, just go back to your barracks. I'm begging you, take very much. I remember that, okay, today, just wanted to put that there. The Nigerian service chiefs just got new rankings and all that today. They just got decorated today. We know they just got appointed a few weeks ago. I think some of them want to show they want to show themselves. Please, don't let these people use you to get more ranking. Yeah. If there's anything like that.
Yeah, just like I mentioned and what Dolupo was saying, I think, like I said, it was 2017 when President Buhari, had asked the Chief of Defense Staff, to speak to the other Chief of Defense Staff of I think 4 or 5 other ECOWAS countries, well, that's West African countries, and they mobilized the Nigerian-led force to Gambia. And of course, we all know that they conformed, they behaved. Now, some people have raised a cogent point, and Dolupo mentioned it. Why didn't they do it for some other countries that in West Africa also that had coups?
Exactly.
And I think it had to do with the leadership. It has to be with the leadership thing, like whoever was chairman at that time and whoever was driving the whole process, it has to do with that person. So on that case, but I think going forward also, we should have standards. No more coups.
No more.
Regardless.
You need to stamp it out. And even the ones that they have, I think even ECOWAS is not just about Niger now. The ones that already have military interim government already, that they have transitional governments, those things need to end very fast.
Yeah,
it needs to end.
Because when Nigeria sent,
it just always draws
Nigeria sent
troops back
to Gambia, the Nigerian Air Force also flew over a couple of times, and Yahya Jammeh said, "You know what? I'm stepping down. I'm hoping that the guys in Niger would toe the line. But however, no matter what happens, ECOWAS must also look at the cause of this coup.
Yeah. Because it's not.
What
it's
are
just
you
not
people
the
also doing wrong? You politicians.
Why is
that's
it
gonna make
prevalent? Yes.
On the side of management, for instance, why would one person be in charge of the presidential guard for about 10 years?
10 years. Why?
Now people
the
understand
has
why
entrenched himself so much.
Yeah, you now understand why someone comes into government and he changes the entire security. Apparatus.
Especially when you're not a military
officers.
person.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even if you were, you must change. You don't allow that. You don't allow that to fester.
Those things to fester that
then
much.
Again, what about the welfare of the troops? In Niger, there's serious complaints about them being old salaries and no increments and all of that.
But that's
no
my issue with that is it the people that are already really depleted are the ones that want to go to war now?
They will because they will want to believe that their leaders are speaking for them.
Okay.
But my prayer is that
it just doesn't degenerate
that
into
the junta in Niger would have sense and not go to war.
Please have sense. Thank you very much. Just a friendly advice. Friendly advice.
Just have sense.
Anyway, moving on from that, President Tinubu is set to address Nigerians at 7 p.m. today. Today, he's also decorated new service chiefs with higher ranks at the presidential villa. And the very interesting one I wanted to talk about when it comes to him is the fact that it has now been said that he has now moved into Aso Rock. Yes.
We joined our voices with the people who live in Abuja to say, Mr. President, this is totally wrong. It's uncalled for. The movement, presidential movement, executive movement in Nigeria is,
is a lot.
It's a big deal. Like if the president is flying, planes don't fly. If the president is driving through certain
You ain't going nowhere.
roads,
You're
the
sitting
roads are shut
behind.
and of course, unknown to Abuja people, the president had not moved in. But when they found out they had not moved in, was when they started finding themselves in traffic that did not exist before. So it's a good thing that he has moved in. For whatever reason, whatever kept him there, happy housewarming.
So I have something that is bothering me, and I'm saying that how convenient was it that he didn't move in onto people? Like, are we saying that
it wasn't because people complained? I think there was something that must have kept him.
something must have kept him. My question is that, are we saying that he couldn't have moved days before? He had to. It was just too coincidental for me.
Well, maybe the complaints also made them speed up whatever had kept him. But I still believe that he might have had a good reason, but I don't like the reason. Whatever reason it was, I don't like it because, like I said,
So according to the story, he said that he finally moved on Sunday night because of public complaints.
Yeah.
According to the source, they're saying that he too was unhappy with the discomfort to the public, but the official residence is still not ready. But he has moved into the glass house. So if you could move into the glass house,
should have moved in the glass house.
If you could move there,
You should have moved there
a month ago. So why didn't you move?
Simple.
It doesn't make sense.
They pass like that. You should have moved.
So there was an alternative all this while.
Same glass house that the former president moved to that you could move in.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm sure maybe they didn't finish his apartment, but we don't care,
But wait,
honestly.
still, my own now is
All they suffer
that
people
there is
now,
actually an alternative that could have happened. Are you joking?
Which is a glass house.
No, that's ridiculous. Anyway, moving away from that, Senate is screening President Tinubu's ministerial nominees. There were talks of there was I think on Thursday there was the announcement of 28 people on the list. 20 people are said to have submitted their credentials, so about 20 people are getting screened. A few people have gotten screened already. Former governor of Rivers State likes to make an entrance. Governor Wike definitely did make an entrance, talking about how...
No wonder it was trending on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. He also said during his screening that President Tinubu will not regret making him a minister. Of course, his own appointment seems to be very, very controversial because it's not something we see a lot. But there's also... You can also explain it. But, of course, I'm sure a lot of the people in the PDP will definitely not be happy with that issue. Now, let's move on from that quickly. Sadly, the Supreme Court and the Federal High Court lost judges over the weekend. That's not a very, very nice...
Very sad, actually. Two
people. Now, there are a few stories from states here. We will come back to it because... we do not have a lot of time, but I would not now leave the issue of Women's World Cup. Because of that, we'll now rush Women's World Cup gist. So no, we'll go back to Women's World Cup, then we'll come back to the gist of states. So going right to the Women's World Cup. So yesterday, they started playing the third games of the... not the knockout stages, the group stages, yeah. And definitely we've seen a lot of people. As at last week, some people had already qualified.
Yeah.
Some people had won 2 games, so they were already down with it. As of yesterday. So yesterday, officially, Switzerland, New Zealand played 0-0. South Korea, Morocco beat South Korea 1-0. Norway defeated Philippines 6-0. Colombia defeated Germany 2-1. Then today we saw Japan flog Spain 4-0. There was Zambia that defeated Costa Rica 3-1.
Fantastic.
Very interesting. We're going to come back to those. But anyway, maybe not. But talking about Zambia, This is the very first time they have won.
Yeah, the first
game,
victory at the World Cup.
the first victory at the World Cup, even though they're not going on to, they're not going on to the round of 16, but I think it's a very huge deal for them, technically. Also, this morning, also, Australia had defeated Canada 4-0 this afternoon, and all Nigeria and Ireland had played 0-0. Now, according to that result, now it is official. Switzerland and Norway are on from Group A, with New Zealand and Philippines. New Zealand is a co-host, but they're not going to the round of 16. In Group B, Australia and Super Falcons of Nigeria are moving on to
the round of
16. Also, Group C, Japan and Spain, who had already qualified as of last week, are also moving on. This is the group where Zambia is in. They won one game and they lost 2, but I think it's a huge deal for them.
It's a huge step forward for them.
In fact, it was their first set of goals, and it was a very, very good outing. If you're going to go out, go out with a bang.
Yeah. A big shout out to them, and also Japan. They beat Germany, right?
Yeah.
Nobody saw that one coming.
Nobody saw it coming, and it was a very serious flogging.
And guess what? If you check the statistics,
flogging.
they had the worst possession
No,
ever.
Japan defeated Spain. Sorry,
Spain. They beat
Colombia
Spain.
that beat Germany.
They beat Spain.
Yes, 4-0.
If you check the statistics, oh my God!
Sorry, if I'm not wrong, Japan's team is actually very good as well. The female team is very good as well. So even though, you think
you need to check the statistics and you understand. Like Spain had everything.
You know what I have come to realize, because I always thought that football is at times is luck. What I have come to see is that I do not really think it's a lot of luck. I also don't think it's about possession at times or how good you are. A lot of times, a few times, especially when you see a team that has all the possession losing. Take, for example, the Nigerian game with Australia.
The team that has all the possession
losing the game.
What does that tell you?
What that tells me is that the other team seems to be a little bit more calculative. And
And it doesn't talk about luck there. You don't see anything that shows luck.
Like I said, I think it's more of you've seen one little bit
70 plus possession,
but
someone has over 15 corners.
The little
corners.
mistakes that team has, the other team just takes it and uses it as an opportunity.
And luck doesn't happen.
I don't think it's more of I think it's just being a little bit more calculative. So it's really not all about your possession. Does it work with possession?
When people say this,
maybe people with more possession should make fewer mistakes.
So when people say this, I get it, but at times you need to watch the games also before you can proceed. Because the battle of the tapes or the number, when we talk about the figures, the numbers about games, tells one story. But when you watch the game, it tells another story entirely. I saw the Super Falcons game. And again, we played a draw. Don't get it twisted. We did not win. We didn't win. We did not win Canada. We didn't. So we qualified on the strength of that draw, which is okay.
Yeah.
But it also shows that our team is not all that and a bag of chips.
Oh yeah, we still have a lot of work.
The same team that we could not defeat. Let me correct myself. We could not defeat. Got beaten by other teams in the same group.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
So, luck plays an element. There's luck in sports too. But again, preparation helps. When you take your opportunities, it also helps. You take your chances. Oh, you scored against the run of play. It helps. But I'm not ever going to say that Lady Luck does not smile on people. I am not going to make that mistake. Especially when you watch the game, you would understand. We had chances to score. they also had clear chances to score.
It didn't work out. So tomorrow we're going to be seeing the last stages, the last group stages tomorrow and the day after. And then the round of 16, it's official. We're going to be seeing Switzerland and Spain and Japan and Norway in the first round of 16. Now, with Nigeria moving on to what's it called? We're most likely the way it's going, we're most likely going to meet England.
Yeah, because they will top their group
most likely.
And that's why it's good for us to have won our game. Because you will meet potentially a weaker team. Potentially,
yes. So looks, with all indication, Nigeria is going to play with England next. Yeah. I already have palpitations, but
it's football, man.
Anyway, it is football, so anything is definitely possible. We're going to be seeing a lot of these games. For tomorrow, we're going to see Vietnam and Netherlands, Portugal and United States. That's a game I think that will be very interesting to watch. China and England and Haiti and Denmark tomorrow. The day after, we're going to see Argentina and Sweden, South Africa and Italy, Jamaica and Brazil, Panama and France. And finally, we're going to see Morocco, Colombia, and South Korea and Germany.
That's what it is. So the FIFA Women's World Cup is ongoing. It's exciting.
It's exciting.
Catch
it's
a
fun.
game.
It is fun.
The women's game is as exciting as the men's game.
I agree.
Bold to say that.
It's actually interesting to watch. Also, a very interesting thing that I was going to also talk about is one uncle like that. You know, when I saw this story and I like checked and I say, okay, this is what this guy does. I was kind of not surprised. Yeah, and so this is a particular person. The person known as Remy Lucidi, a 30-year-old who's said to be known for scaling skyscrapers, has now died after falling from the 68th floor of a building in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's a very sad one. Very sad one there. You know that these guys, they say they are daredevils. They call them, all sorts of glorious names. And
that's a very interesting fall.
We all know the dangers inherent in this sport. There's something called parkour that I really pray doesn't catch on, but it started catching on. I started seeing it grow. You see people jumping from one roof to the other. It's a sport actually. People climb the wall and somersault and do all sorts of things without safety.
Someone sent a video of that to me of someone filming different people in Lagos, and I'm like, Igbobi is about to receive some new.
And once it catches on, sadly, they had invited me to join the association as a media person a couple of years ago. But I joined for a while, then I pulled out. I just parkour. I'm like, this thing is dangerous. It's actually dangerous. So, man, I've heartfelt feelings to his family, but be honest with yourselves. You're human.
It didn't make any sense. So, according to
you can't fly.
Investigators, they said that he arrived at the building and told the security guard he was visiting a friend on the 40th floor. It was said that he made his way to a top floor, and then he got trapped outside and was started knocking on a window, startling a maid inside. Then he lost his footing and fell. If you know physics well, from the 68th floor, this person probably died before he reached the ground.
Yeah.
And that would have been now on that kind of speed. And then I hope that his body is even. Oh, that I can't even imagine that. What's it called? It's
it should just be left to imagination.
Yes, I really honestly think that whoever tries to do these things or people that do these things, it needs to stop. Really.
I mean, make una find another sport where now feel they do. Not be all this one where they waste life. You understand?
Yeah, let's do something else. Now let's come back here and let's talk about a bit of stories from different states. So if we go all the way to Borno State, the governor has now removed the secondary school principal. It said that from his commissioner's nominees list over an alleged 24 million naira fraud allegation.
Alleged, Abby. So until it's proven,
but he has
this
taken
is
this
why-
matter off, like just
But he shouldn't even have made the list in the first place.
If
You
maybe
know,
he
if
had
you had done your due diligence.
before,
And this is
that
why
time.
you send the names of your nominees first
Security
to
agencies.
the security agencies. You understand?
Before
this is
you
why
release
you
the
do
list.
it.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree.
I beg, are we not tired of funny governance? Ne?
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about protest. We know that the NLC said they're still going ahead with, I think, August 3rd protest. There's a lot of conversation back and forth. As of today, the Senate, as they're talking to them, not to go ahead with the protest. We do not know what the president's going to say at 7 p.m. So we'll see what maybe he's going to address that. Also, there are people that talk also that there's an injunction that you shouldn't actually go on strike and all that. But we'll see how that will go. And still talking about protests, Osun residents have been seen to take to the streets to protest the federal government's economic policies.
Okay. They're protesting economic policies of the federal government,
Yeah.
and it's well within their rights. They are
Oh, yeah.
Nigerians, and they can protest. But I've not seen them, call out their governor or even, put him on blast or anything. They
Because we see that some governors are doing something.
They seem to be enjoying it. Like the pronouncements that were made by the governor of Ogun State
Yeah.
are so amazing. Like the pronouncements that were made by the governor of Kwara State. The actions that have been taken
Yeah.
by Governor Zulum.
So there are few
you know?
governors that. So how come? What happened to other governors?
Which shows you that not all of these things are federal based. That the solutions are multidimensional. They're going to be at the federal level, at the state level, and at the local government level. So these are the facts now. But if you protest, does that mean that your governor is doing very well and you're very okay? I would like someone from Osun to respond.
To explain to that. But if the governor is doing very well, maybe they wouldn't feel so much of the federal government.
No, maybe they feel that the government is doing very well, but it's the federal government that's affecting him.
Okay, so now talking about people that are now complaining what the state government is doing. Now, there are protests in Ibadan and Oyo State saying that the governor has failed to provide palliative for his workers. They're saying that, according to reports, Oyo State civil servants actually locked the secretariat. It was said that the governor was actually in the secretariat, and he kind of is locked in. They're also demanding payment of leave bonuses, gratuities to retirees who have stagnated. This has been stagnated since 2021. They said promotion letters of 2021 and 2022 as well. They're asking for an upward review in pension allowances and payment of salary deduction and all that.
These demands are not out of place for me. And I heard that the only member of their government that responded, the governor has an essay on labor matters, and that the lady had responded and said that some of these things had already been done. So if it is true, it would be nice for labor to confirm, and if they confirm it, they can call off, this action. Because I have a feeling that if they don't get answers today, they might hit the road again tomorrow and everything. But everything is all part of all the issues that we're all facing at the moment. So here we are.
Yeah, really looking forward to whatever it is that the president has to say, and because really here we've also been talking about how the presidency, the federal government needs to do something fast. Quickly, former Governor Wike has now officially been cleared by the National Assembly to become a minister.
Updates. If it didn't day, it didn't day.
But this one day.
It day.
This one day, Abby. Now, a very disturbing news coming from Lagos State Police. They're talking about how in 24 hours, they arrested 88 suspected robbers.
Yeah, disturbing if you look at it from the headline. Oh, it's disturbing.
Yeah, the 88.
The 88 criminals were arrested alleged criminals were arrested in the space of 24 hours. But it's actually born out of an Operation Flush, that the state government carried out. I mean, the state police command carried out. A big shout out to the commissioner of police, who led this team and all of that. I have always said it. You see, you need to be proactive in many things, if not everything. The kind of policing we have, and we know that policing is broken down into several styles and spheres. But what they did is proactivity. They went to the dens. They went to the black spots. They went there. Do you understand? Now, there have been a lot of reports about how people have been attacked in traffic, especially along Doyin, Orile axis, and other parts of Lagos. So what they did this time was not wait for people to come and report.
Okay.
They went out, to get these guys. And this is what policing is actually about. You're supposed to prevent crime. It's not only about going to arrest criminals who had committed crimes. It's about preventing crime. And I like this approach. And I think Operation Flush should be a regular thing, and they should continue flushing out the bad boys and bad girls in the society. So kudos to the Lagos State Police Command for carrying out this action.
Okay, still talking about people getting getting arrested. There's a story that popped up. Was it yesterday? Where it was said that NDLEA arrested a manager, and it's a music, someone's manager that was selling drugs in clubs. And I'm wondering, is it the first time NDLEA is hearing about this?
Well, at least they finally arrested somebody, so I'll cut them some slack on that one.
Anyway, maybe it's time that people need to.
So, what's the manager's name and what's the artist that he manages name?
I don't know that one. I'm not going to. It's not my party. I'm going to get that kind of thing.
That means you don't have a job. I know you are not that nice.
Wow.
Yeah, you're not.
Wow.
Let us have the name now. At least you are reading something from the NDLEA. It's not you. You did not conjure it up. You did not create the story.
I did. Anyway, I definitely will get it. I know I have it somewhere. I would get it for you. Before we leave, I will come back to that. The National Agency of the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons has raised an alarm that traffickers are now recruiting and trafficking girls from Mali to Edo State. There was always a conversation.
Say that again because it's strange.
NAPTIP, has raised an alarm that traffickers are recruiting and trafficking girls from Mali to Edo State. I thought it was the other way around.
It was. It used to be. But at this rate now.
Looks like there is booming. I was going to say that there is booming business.
It's a terrible business, where you append people, you take young girls, and in some cases, young boys.
The fact that, because for me, is more of, as much as people take those people, what happens? How is it easy for these people to come into the country?
That's it now. You remember that West Africa has open borders, right? Nobody can stop you from entering Benin Republic now. They just stamp you in.
Malians that are now being trafficked back into Nigeria. I think that it is ridiculous.
Trafficking is a terrible thing, and now that NAPTIP has raised it, I hope that there will be some firm action by the security, apparatus that Nigeria has, the police and everybody that is, empowered by law to do something about it. And hopefully these girls get returned to their country and they can continue with their lives, hopefully. Because it is terrible. We always come down and say slavery is bad, this is bad. Is this not slavery?
It is slavery. It is slavery. Anyway, so back to the story that you were asking before. So this person is supposed to be an Oseni Abdurrahim Ayodeji Babatunde, who's said to be a prominent figure in Lekki entertainment scene, that he confessed to the illegal trade of, drugs for the past 3 years. And he had mentioned places like Quaylock, Silver Fox, DNA, Hotbox as its distribution points.
So now you have someone, a self-confessed drug dealer. You know his area of operation. So who are his customers and who are his suppliers? You see, it's not enough to just always
take one person out. It has to be from
there's
the
a chain,
source.
So let's bring them all in and kill this terrible, dangerous.
Because last, at the end of the day, Nigeria was still, what's the word now? It's still illegal. Those kind of things are still illegal in Nigeria.
I don't know what Toluwa has next, but I'm going to talk about
We need to
something.
be quick because we're kind of like
yeah,
out.
but I'm going to talk about something that happened on Twitter, and I want to speak to medical doctors who are now influencers on social media. Nobody's saying that you should not ply your trade. Nobody's saying that you should not be an influencer or whatever. But please bring only facts. A certain at First Doctor brought out, some spurious claims about an HIV test that was conducted by the Red Cross in Abuja, and he returned randomly a 60%, rate of positive test for HIV, which is a lie. You know why? The Red Cross denied it. The NACA, and these were the people it was quoting. And this is how they come. The sad part,
stop spreading panic.
The sad part about this is that now some people have started copying that tweet and they are posting it again like it's their original tweet.
Wow.
The man who put out this claim, this lie, has deleted it, but other people are carrying it. Stop spreading fake news all for clicks.
The thing is that I maybe at times the idea of fear might make people maybe be more responsible, but I think that
just
the least
stop
you can
spreading
do is that
lies.
Stop saying lies. Just
stop
definitely doesn't work. Anyway, on that note, that is all we have to take today on the Boom Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. We'll be back again at 3 p.m. West African time tomorrow to give you another wonderful edition of the bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.